Follies is a really special project for a designer, and I think it's to do with the richness of what is asked for, the layers and connections that need to be made visually. There's this lovely design task which is combining the real tactile and concrete reality of this nostalgic environment of the theatre on the verge of demolition, alongside the sort of delicacy of the memories and of the aspirations of the Follies at the time. What we were looking for was this incredible glamour and elegance sort of coming out of the dust and the shadow of the demolished theatre. The fact that it's a piece about theatre lends itself very much to being staged in a proscenium arch theatre, like the Follies themselves would have been. However, obviously we're doing it in the Olivier, which is much more of an arena space. So that immediately suggested that we needed to be looking at a more abstracted architectural presence for the production. Each one of these costume pieces are developed by the makers as a real one-off. They need to be balanced, they need to be light, you need to be able to look after them from show to show. Also the technical aspects of costume for dance. We worked with a lot of prototyping, so trying out the scale of some of these ingredients and trying out how to translate from drawings through to the real thing is quite a big act of interpretation on the part of the maker in conversation with the designer. There are so many hours that go into each one. They're incredibly handmade and the amount of craft is absolutely extraordinary. The character of Solange, her era, if you like, at the Follies was the early 20s. So we thought that she might be the one that had the most connection to the Folies Bergère in Paris. We also then knew that she was likely to be the showgirl who starts the show, so she's the first figure that you see. So we wanted her to have this very evocative, very immediate sense of the sort of beauty and elegance and the sort of aesthetic of the Follies, so the ostrich feathers and the sequins and so on. We have one of the shepherds from the Loveland sequence. These were hugely good fun to design. The way that it's described in the script is very much like a sort of French 18th century sun king. So it was great fun working out what our version of that was going to be. And it was partly really exaggerating some of the shapes. So the back of this jacket has got this sort of tutu underpinning that gives it real bounce and exaggeration, but keeps it really light. And likewise with the hats being made from a fine straw rather than from a felt, just gives them this kind of playful lightness. This is for when Ben participates in the Loveland Follies. His is a very urbane top hat and tails number, and so this costume was designed to be exactly that archetype of a sort of Maurice Chevalier elegance, treading very lightly, not even quite dancing, but just being elegant and very under control. And of course what happens is that he loses control and the number falls apart. The character of young Hattie, who obviously is much more mid-20s shape, so she's got this sort of flapper-like dress with a feather train. We wanted her character to have the boldness and audacity of those flapper women who were breaking a lot of rules with hem length and with not wearing corsets and so on. So it felt really appropriate that she should sit in that era. So we gave her absolutely classic flapper bob and the headband with a feather. In a way, they were almost like a present to those girls. That they might have that feeling of being a member of the Follies and the excitement of having a new costume for a new number and feeling the glamour. I mean, the byline for Ziegfeld's Follies was glorifying the American girl. So we wanted those costumes to do exactly that, to glorify the girl that was wearing the costume.